It's 8:47 p.m. in San Antonio, Texas, October 22nd, 2025. The food truck El Buen Sabor is about to close for the night. Ramon Delgado, 62 years old. Completely white hair slicked back, calloused hands stained with brisket grease and taco seasoning. He wipes down the flat-top grill with slow, repetitive movements, the same ones he's made for 14 years. 6 days a week, 14 hours a day, always the same movements. Outside on Commerce Street, traffic has died down. Only a few cars pass by occasionally. A taxi picks up a woman with grocery bags. 2 teenagers walk by eating corn from the street vendor on the corner. The smell of charred tortillas and fresh cilantro still floats inside the food truck, mixing with the smoke from the brisket that cooked all afternoon. Ramon looks at the clock on the wall. 8:48 p.m. In 12 minutes he'll close like always. He'll clean everything. He'll store the little meat that's left. He'll turn off the lights. He'll lock up and walk 15 minutes to his house where Lucia, his wife, will be waiting with dinner served and a tired but genuine smile. But tonight will be different. Tonight, 3 blocks away, 12 black trucks advance in convoy. Nissan Frontiers, Toyota Tacomas, Chevrolet Silverados, all with dark-tinted windows that reveal nothing inside, all with Texas plates. Inside are 12 armed men, hitmen for the Mexican cartel. They're armed with AK-47s, Glock pistols, 9mm handguns, Level 4 tactical vests that can stop rifle rounds, encrypted radio communications. They're hunting a 19-year-old kid named Mateo Ruiz. Mateo worked as a lookout for the cartel. His job was simple: stand on strategic corners of San Antonio and report movements of federal patrols, state troopers, local police. Warn when operations were coming, warn when there were roadblocks. They paid him $300 a week. It wasn't much, but Mateo was 19. He'd dropped out of school at 15. He had no other options, until 2 days ago when he made the mistake that would cost him his life. On Tuesday, October 20th, Mateo was standing on his usual corner, the corner of Houston Street and Navarro, when 2 federal agents in an unmarked car approached him, pulled him in without giving him a choice. They took him to a DEA safe house. They interrogated him for 3 hours, showed him photos of him reporting by radio, showed him recordings of his calls. They told him they had enough to put him away for 10 years for collaborating with organized crime. Mateo cried. Mateo begged. Mateo told them he only did it because he needed money, that his mom was sick, that his little sister, 12 years old, needed school supplies. The agents didn't believe any of it. They told him he had one option: cooperate or rot in prison. Mateo, terrified, agreed to cooperate. He gave them 2 names: Rodrigo Salazar, known as the Gator, head of enforcers in San Antonio, and Javier Mendoza, in charge of drug distribution in the metro area. With those 2 names, the DEA organized an operation. They captured Javier Mendoza Wednesday morning at his house in the suburbs. They grabbed him with 33 pounds of crystal meth, 3 long guns, and $200,000 in cash. But someone at the DEA is on the Mexican cartel's payroll. Someone warned them. Someone told the Gator that Mateo had talked. And now, 48 hours later, 12 hitmen are hunting him with a clear order: find him and execute him tonight. No witnesses, no mistakes, no mercy. The leader of the group is Rodrigo Salazar, the Gator, 38 years old. A scar runs from his left eyebrow to his right cheek, a reminder of a shootout with Los Zetas in 2019. Responsible for 23 documented executions by the DEA, wanted in 4 states. He has an active federal warrant with a $2 million reward for information leading to his capture. The Gator received intel that Mateo was seen entering the food truck El Buen Sabor 35 minutes ago. A different lookout saw him, reported it. Now the truck stopped 2 blocks away to avoid drawing attention. The 12 men get out. They walk in groups of 3, separated like normal customers arriving in the area. What the Gator doesn't know is that he's about to make the biggest mistake of his life. Because that modest food truck with a faded hand-painted sign that says El Buen Sabor in blue letters isn't what it seems. And the 62-year-old cook with calloused hands who serves tacos at $2 each isn't either. Before we continue with this story, write in the comments what country and city you're watching from. We want to know where our listeners who follow these stories of resistance and courage across the world are located. Ramon Delgado wakes up every morning at 5:15 a.m. Not a minute earlier, not a minute later. His internal clock no longer needs an alarm. For 14 years he's woken at the exact same time. He opens his eyes, looks at the white ceiling of his bedroom, listens to Lucia's peaceful breathing as she sleeps beside him. He stays there for a few seconds, remembering who he was before, remembering who he is now. Then he gets up without making noise, walks barefoot across the cold cement floor to the kitchen. He makes coffee in an old aluminum percolator he bought 11 years ago at a garage sale for $5. He adds 3 spoonfuls of Folgers ground coffee, the cheapest they sell at H-E-B. He adds 4 cups of water from the pitcher, puts it on the stove on medium heat. While he waits for it to boil, he sits at the kitchen table and looks through the window toward the empty street. San Antonio is still sleeping at this hour. You can only hear stray dogs barking in the distance and garbage trucks collecting waste from restaurants. When the coffee is ready, Ramon pours himself a cup without sugar. He drinks it slowly, burning his tongue a little, feeling the heat go down his throat. Then he kisses Lucia on the forehead without waking her. She murmurs something in her sleep. Ramon smiles. It's one of the few moments of the day when he allows his face to show something resembling genuine happiness. He dresses in his work uniform, faded jeans with permanent grease stains on the knees, white button-up shirt that smells of cheap Tide detergent, black plastic shoes he bought at a flea market for $8 3 years ago. He leaves the house at 5:42 a.m., walks through the still dark streets of San Antonio, exactly 12 minutes on foot. He passes the corner store owned by Mrs. Martha, which opens at 6. He passes the hardware store owned by Mr. Roberto, which still has its metal shutters closed. He passes St. Sebastian's Church, where on Wednesdays there's 7 a.m. Mass, and the same 15 elderly ladies always attend with their black shawls. He arrives at the food truck El Buen Sabor on Commerce Street, spot number 847 in the designated food truck zone. A small setup, 20 feet long by 8 feet wide, stainless steel exterior with rust spots, red painted floor inside, white walls with accumulated grease stains from years. A handmade sign outside that says El Buen Sabor, Tacos and BBQ, open 6 a.m., 9 p.m. 3 plastic tables outside with mismatched chairs. A large stainless steel flat-top grill, a vertical spit for al pastor meat, a small prep table with onions, cilantro, limes, salsas, and a small smoker attached to the back of the truck for brisket. Ramon takes his keys from his pocket. 3 keys on a simple metal keyring, 1 for the main service window, 1 for the cash box, and a third, smaller, more worn key for the storage compartment door at the back of the truck that he always keeps locked. He opens the service window, goes inside, turns on the fluorescent lights that flicker for a second before fully illuminating. The familiar smell greets him. Old oil, corn tortillas, cilantro, marinated meat. It's a smell he's lived with for 14 years. A smell that reminds him every day why he's here, why he's still alive, why he still can't rest. He turns on the flat top, takes out the brisket he smoked yesterday, Texas style with salt, pepper, and nothing else. Takes out the al pastor he marinated last night with achiote, guajillo chile, vinegar, pineapple, secret spices he learned from a taquero in Guadalajara when he first started. Cuts white onion into small squares. Chops fresh cilantro he bought yesterday at the farmer's market for $1 a bunch. Squeezes 20 limes into a plastic container. Heats corn tortillas made by hand that he buys every morning from Mrs. Esther in the Southside neighborhood, a 68-year-old woman who makes the best tortillas in all of San Antonio. At 6:30 a.m., the first customers arrive, always the same ones. Mr. Hector, a 52-year-old construction worker who works at a site 3 blocks away. He orders 3 brisket tacos with everything and a glass of horchata. Pays with crumpled dollar bills and quarters he pulls from a plastic baggie tied with a knot. Then comes Marcos, a 45-year-old taxi driver with a blue 2005 Nissan Sentra that already has 250,000 miles on it. He orders 4 tacos because he says it's going to be a long day. Ramon charges him $8. Marcos gives him a $10 bill and tells him to keep the change. Then comes Gabriela, a 33-year-old street vendor who sells candy outside schools. She orders 2 tacos and coffee. Ramon serves it to her in a disposable cup. She drinks it while checking her phone, answering WhatsApp messages from customers asking for gum, lollipops, candy bars. To the San Antonio community, Ramon Delgado is just that, a food truck cook, a gentle man of few words who works 14 hours a day, 6 days a week. He closes on Sundays to go to Mass with Lucia at St. James Parish at 10 in the morning. He always sits in the third pew on the left side. He always puts $20 in the collection basket. He always prays with his eyes closed for exactly 10 minutes after communion. No one knows what he prays for. No one knows why his hands tremble slightly when he touches the holy water upon entering. No one knows why sometimes during the Our Father his lips move but no words come out. No one knows that Ramon Delgado isn't a real person. And absolutely no one knows who he was before becoming a food truck cook 14 years ago. Not even Lucia. Lucia Morales met Ramon in November 2011 at the San Antonio Farmers Market. She was selling flowers at a small stand. Roses, carnations, daisies, sunflowers. She bought them wholesale and resold them with a small margin, barely enough to pay rent on her room and eat. She was a widow. Her husband had died 2 years earlier in a work accident at a construction site. He fell from scaffolding on the 4th floor. Died instantly. Lucia was 48 years old when she met Ramon. She'd already accepted that she'd probably spend the rest of her life alone. She didn't expect to fall in love again. But that Tuesday in November, when Ramon came to her stand asking for cilantro for the food truck he'd just opened, something in his gaze made her feel safe. Ramon had tired eyes of someone who's seen things he'd rather forget, but he also had a shy, genuine smile. He bought the cilantro. He also bought a bouquet of white carnations. He said they were to decorate the food truck. Lucia gave him a special price. Ramon came back the next day, then again and again. He always bought cilantro, always bought flowers. After 2 weeks, they started talking. Ramon told her he'd opened the food truck a month ago, that he lived alone in a rented room near downtown, that he had no family, that his parents had died when he was young, that he'd never been married. Lucia told him about her dead husband, about how difficult it was selling flowers, about how sometimes she couldn't make rent and had to borrow from her sister. 6 months later, they were having dinner together on Fridays at cheap little restaurants in San Antonio, $8 Chinese food plates, pozole at a street stand, tortas at the farmer's market, long conversations about small things, the weather, the neighbors, the news. A year later, in November 2012, Ramon proposed. It wasn't anything elaborate. They were sitting on a bench in Travis Park after Mass. Ramon pulled out a simple silver ring that cost him 3 weeks of food truck earnings, $400. He said, "Lucia, I know I'm not young. I know I don't have much to offer, but I promise I'll take care of you for the rest of my life. Will you marry me?" Lucia cried. She said yes. They married in January 2013 at St. James Parish. Small ceremony. Only Lucia's sister with her family attended, 3 of Ramon's neighbors and Mrs. Esther, the woman who sold him tortillas. There was no mariachi, no reception hall, just a simple mass, sincere vows, and a meal at Lucia's sister's house with mole she made herself. For 12 years of marriage, Lucia has been happy. Ramon is a good man. He works hard, never drinks, never raises his voice. He brings flowers every Friday, always white carnations, always from the same stand where they met. He helps with housework without Lucia having to ask. He washes dishes after dinner. He sweeps the patio on Saturdays. He sleeps holding her every night. But there are things Lucia notices and never asks about. She notices Ramon has nightmares. 2 or 3 times a week he wakes up sweating, breathing fast, murmuring names she doesn't recognize. Sophia, Camila, forgive me. Lucia hugs him in those moments, tells him it's okay, that it was just a nightmare. Ramon calms down, goes back to sleep, but never explains who Sophia and Camila are. She notices Ramon has a small storage compartment in the back of the food truck that he always keeps locked. A metal door painted white with a heavy-duty padlock that seems more resistant than the other locks on the truck. When Lucia asked what was in there, Ramon told her, "Accounting papers, receipts, boring documents. It's really messy. I don't want you to see the disaster." Lucia never insisted. She trusts him. But sometimes when she's alone at the food truck helping him clean after closing, she looks at that locked door and wonders, what's on the other side? She notices Ramon never talks about his past. He says he was born in Guadalajara, says his parents died when he was young, his father from a heart attack, his mother from cancer, says he has no siblings, says he worked different jobs before opening the food truck, waiter, delivery driver, warehouse worker, but never gives details, never shows photos, never mentions old friends. It's as if his life began in 2011. Lucia loves him, trusts him, believes everyone has the right to keep secrets. But sometimes when she sees him pray on Sundays at Mass with that intensity that seems like physical pain, with his hands clenched until his knuckles turn white, with his eyes closed so tight the wrinkles around them deepen, she wonders what her husband carries in his soul. What Lucia doesn't know is that Ramon Delgado is actually Ramon Cardenas Silva, born in Culiacan, Sinaloa, Mexico, on March 15, 1963, co-founder of the criminal group that in 2010 would become one of the most powerful branches of the Mexican cartel operating in the United States. The man who for 3 years was the financial brain of one of the most dangerous criminal organizations working across the border. The man who laundered hundreds of millions of dollars. The man who designed money routes that crossed 5 countries. The man who bought judges, police officers, mayors, governors. And the man who was betrayed by his own partner on the darkest night of his life. The story begins in 2008. Ramon Cardenas was working in Guadalajara as a financial operator for a cartel faction, an organization that controlled methamphetamine routes from Jalisco into the United States. Ramon wasn't a sicario. He didn't kill, didn't torture, didn't kidnap. He was the brain, the accountant, the strategist. He'd studied accounting at the Autonomous University of Sinaloa, graduated in 1985 with honors, worked for 10 years in legitimate companies, a supermarket chain, a construction company, a regional bank. But in 1995, when his 3-year-old daughter was diagnosed with leukemia, medical expenses destroyed his savings. Treatments cost $2,000 a month. Insurance covered barely half. Desperate, Ramon accepted a temporary job with a businessman from Culiacan who needed help with creative accounting. The businessman turned out to be a front man for a major cartel. The temporary job became permanent, and Ramon discovered he was extraordinarily good at money laundering. He created shell companies. He moved millions of dollars through offshore accounts in Panama, the Cayman Islands, Switzerland, Liechtenstein. He bought properties in the names of straw men. He documented false transactions that justified impossible income, making drug money look like legitimate profit from restaurants, gas stations, construction companies, laundromats. For 13 years, Ramon worked for different criminal organizations. He was like a freelance consultant for the drug trade. He worked for whoever paid best. He never got involved in the violence. He just moved numbers. He just made money disappear from one side and appear clean on the other. He was good at his job. Very good. So good that when the cartel faction started fragmenting in 2009 due to pressure from the federal government and mass arrests of its leaders, Ramon saw an opportunity. He saw a power vacuum. He saw the possibility of building something of his own. He partnered with Nemesio Ocheguera Cervantes, known as El Mencho. El Mencho was an operator who had bigger ambitions. He had connections with methamphetamine producers in Michoacán. He had a network of distributors in the United States. He had loyal enforcers. But he didn't have a financial brain. He didn't have someone who could transform violence into clean money. That's where Ramon came in. Together they founded what was initially called Los Matazetas in 2010, a group that presented itself as defenders of their territory against the brutal Los Zetas cartel attempting to invade. Ramon provided the initial capital and financial intelligence. El Mencho provided the muscle and the brutality. It was a perfect partnership, or so it seemed. For 2 years, they built an empire. By 2011, they controlled most of their region. They'd expelled Los Zetas from the state through mass executions and systematic terror. They had alliances with Colombian cartels that supplied high-purity cocaine. They moved tons of methamphetamines monthly into California, Texas, Illinois. They generated hundreds of millions of dollars in profits. Ramon Cardenas was the brain behind everything. He designed the financial routes. He bought officials with million-dollar bribes. He negotiated with politicians from 3 different parties. He created corporate structures so complex that even the financial intelligence unit couldn't track them. While El Mencho was the visible face of violence that appeared in newspapers, Ramon was the invisible ghost who made the machinery function. He lived well, very well. Big house in a Guadalajara suburb with a pool and tennis court, 3 armored trucks, family trips to Cancun, Los Cabos, Miami. His wife Sofia thought Ramon was a successful businessman with import-export businesses. His daughter Camila went to a private bilingual school where tuition cost $800 a month. Ramon justified himself by saying he wasn't directly hurting anyone, that he was just moving numbers, that the violence was El Mencho and his sicarios' problem, that he was just doing his technical job without getting involved in the dirty work. But power corrupts and ambition kills. El Mencho started changing in 2011. Success went to his head. He started making decisions without consulting Ramon. He started surrounding himself with younger, more violent men, more loyal only to him. He started distrusting everyone, including his founding partner. He started seeing Ramon as a threat instead of an ally. Ramon noticed he was no longer invited to important meetings, noticed his opinions no longer mattered, noticed El Mencho started bringing in another accountant, a younger guy from Michoacán, to help with finances. Ramon understood he was being replaced. In September 2011, during a meeting at a safe house in Tlaquepaque, El Mencho told him something that would change everything. "I don't need partners anymore, compadre. I need employees. Either you stay working for me at the salary I decide, or you leave. But if you leave, make sure you don't take anything that belongs to me. Not information, not contacts, not secrets. Because if I find out you took anything of mine, I'm going to find you and I'm going to make you wish you'd never been born." Ramon understood the message. It wasn't an offer, it was an ultimatum. He accepted staying because he knew leaving meant dying. But he started planning his exit. He started copying documents discreetly. He started saving evidence of everything: bank transfers, names of bought politicians, photos of meetings with officials, recordings of compromising conversations. He started creating an insurance policy in case El Mencho ever decided to eliminate him. That day came on November 3, 2011. Ramon was at his house in Zapopan with his wife Sofia, 42 years old, and his daughter Camila, 7. It was Thursday. Day of the Dead had passed 2 days before. The street still smelled of incense from offerings and wilted marigold flowers left on graves. The family had eaten pozole that Sofia made. Camila had done math homework. Ramon helped her solve long division problems. At 9:34 p.m., 3 black Suburbans surrounded the house. 8 sicarios got out dressed in tactical gear, balaclavas, long guns. They kicked in the front door. The lock gave way on the second hit. They entered screaming like demons from hell. Ramon tried to protect his family. He ran toward Camila's room. The sicarios intercepted him in the hallway. One hit him in the head with the butt of an AK-47. Ramon fell. Another kicked his ribs. He heard them break. The pain was unbearable. He tried to get up. They kicked him again. Sofia came out of the bedroom screaming, "Don't hurt him, please!" 2 shots. She fell in the hallway. Her blood started forming a pool on the white marble floor she herself had chosen when they bought the house. Camila came out of her room crying, "Mommy, Mommy." She was wearing her pink Hello Kitty pajamas. She had her teddy bear in her hands. 2 more shots. She fell next to her mother. The bear was soaked in blood. The sicarios beat Ramon until he was unconscious. They broke his jaw, fractured 3 ribs, shattered his right arm. They wanted him to suffer. They wanted him to understand the message. No one defies El Mencho. No one keeps evidence against him. No one lives after betraying him. They left him alive. They wanted him to wake up and see what they'd done. They wanted him to live with that pain. They wanted him to eventually commit suicide. But Ramon Cardenas didn't die that night. He woke up 6 hours later at 3:42 a.m. on November 4th, lying on the floor of his house in a pool of blood. His wife's blood, his daughter's blood, his own blood mixing with theirs. The silence was absolute. There were no sirens, no screams, just silence. Ramon dragged his destroyed body to the phone. He dialed a number he had memorized. The number of Richard Coleman, a DEA agent who'd been working with him in secret for a year, in exchange for information about Colombian drug routes. Ramon had given him enough information to dismantle 3 cells in California. Richard owed him one. Richard arrived 2 hours later with a clandestine medical team, 3 paramedics who did this type of discreet work. They stabilized Ramon, injected him with morphine for the pain, splinted his right arm, bandaged his ribs, cleaned his head wound. They got him out of Mexico that same morning on a private flight from Guadalajara Airport to San Diego. False documents, diplomatic passport. No one asked questions. They kept him hidden in a private San Diego hospital for 3 weeks while he recovered from multiple fractures, ribs, jaw, right arm, severe concussion. During those 3 weeks, lying in that hospital bed staring at the white ceiling, Ramon Cardenas made a decision. He wasn't going to get revenge with violence. He wasn't going to hire sicarios to kill El Mencho. He wasn't going to organize an attack against the cartel. That would be easy. That would be quick. That wouldn't be enough. He was going to get revenge with patience. He was going to destroy El Mencho slowly, systematically, documenting everything, saving everything, building a file that someday would dismantle the cartel from within. Not today, not tomorrow, but someday, when the perfect moment arrived, when he could guarantee his revenge would be complete, irreversible, devastating. Richard Coleman offered him witness protection in the United States, new identity, safe house in Arizona, enough money to live modestly for the rest of his life. Ramon refused, said he wanted to go back near Mexico, said he wanted to live close to where his family died, said he needed to see them pay. Richard understood, didn't agree, but understood. He got him a new identity, Ramon Delgado, 62 years old. They added 10 years to his real age to make recognition more difficult. Born in Guadalajara, widower, no children, no criminal record, no credit history, no digital records. Perfect ghost. Ramon returned to Texas in January 2012. He opened the food truck El Buen Saber in San Antonio, just 150 miles from where his family died in Zapopan. Close enough to remember, far enough to not be recognized. He lived alone for 2 years, worked from sunrise to sunset, didn't talk to anyone beyond what was necessary. And every night in that small storage compartment that Lucia has never seen, Ramon worked on his revenge. The compartment isn't an accounting office. It's an improvised intelligence center. 3 of the 4 walls are covered completely from floor to ceiling with detailed information. Maps of Texas and northern Mexico marked with red, yellow, and green pins. Photos. Hundreds of sicarios, politicians, businessmen. Newspaper clippings about executions, captures, operations. Names written by hand with black marker connected with red yarn lines that form a spiderweb of relationships, hierarchies, connections. The 4th wall has metal shelves. On top, 14 external hard drives labeled by year, 2012, 2025. In the middle, 47 USB drives stored in transparent plastic boxes. Below, yellow manila folders full of documents, each one labeled with names, politicians, judges, police, routes, finances, active sicarios, safe houses. Ramon has spent 14 years documenting absolutely everything. Every conversation he overhears at the food truck. Every sicario who comes in to buy tacos without knowing the old cook memorizes his face. Every lookout who talks on the phone outside reporting police movements. Every politician who meets discreetly on the corner with cartel men thinking no one sees. Customers talk. They talk about everything, their jobs, their problems, their bosses, and some, without knowing, talk about things they shouldn't. Names, nicknames, routes, amounts, schedules, dates. Ramon has a photographic memory. Always had it. That's why he was so good with numbers when he worked for the cartel. He records everything mentally during the day. At night he transcribes it, organizes it meticulously, archives it digitally with 256-bit military encryption, saves it in multiple physical and digital copies. For 14 years, he's built the most complete file on the Mexican cartel's U.S. operations that exists outside national and international intelligence agencies. He has full names and aliases of 127 active sicarios in Texas and neighboring states. License plates of 43 vehicles they use regularly for operations. Exact addresses of 18 safe houses in San Antonio, Houston, Austin, El Paso, Recordings of 34 phone conversations where executions are ordered, recorded with a device he discreetly installed in 3 payphones that sicarios frequently use. Banking documents proving money laundering through 23 front companies. Photographs of clandestine meetings between cartel operators and 11 mayors, 7 police commanders, 4 state judges, 2 generals in the Mexican army. Detailed maps of drug distribution routes from Michoacán into the United States. A list of 67 legitimate businesses, restaurants, gas stations, laundromats, mechanic shops, that function as extortion centers. And he has something else. He has a digital life insurance policy. Every 12 hours, every single day for 14 years, Ramon must enter an 8-digit code into an encrypted app on his cell phone. The app is called Dead Man's Switch. If he doesn't enter the code before 12 hours pass, if the phone turns off for more than 12 hours, if Ramon dies or disappears, the system automatically sends his entire file to 23 pre-programmed email addresses. Department of Justice, 5 different prosecutors, DEA, 3 senior agents, FBI, 2 narcotics analysts, U.S. State Department, the New York Times, 2 investigative journalists, The Guardian, a correspondent in Mexico, the Texas Tribune, the San Antonio Express News, the Houston Chronicle, the Washington Post, human rights organizations, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, National Commission for Human Rights in Mexico, Inter-American Commission on Human Rights. El Mencho can kill him, can torture him, can make his body disappear. But if Ramon doesn't enter that code every 12 hours, everything goes public. Names, accounts, photos, recordings, everything. The cartel would fall within 48 hours. Mass arrests, frozen bank accounts, political scandals, coordinated international operations. The empire El Mencho built over 15 years would completely crumble. That's Ramon Cardenas's revenge. Not violent, not quick, not emotional. Cold, calculated, patient, live. Document, wait. And when the perfect moment arrives, destroy. It's 8:32 p.m. on October 22, 2025, when Mateo Ruiz runs into the food truck, El Buen Sabor. He's 19 years old, still has a baby face without a full beard, terrified eyes. He's sweating even though the night is cool. He's trembling. The service window is still open. Mateo stumbles coming in, almost falls. "Mr. Ramon, help me. They're looking for me." Ramon is cleaning the flat top with a greasy rag. He slowly looks up. He recognizes Mateo. The kid comes by occasionally, always orders 3 brisket tacos with everything. Onions, cilantro, green salsa, lime. Always pays with crumpled dollar bills and quarters he counts slowly on the counter. Always looks nervously toward the street while eating, as if expecting someone to follow him. Ramon knows what Mateo does. Knows he works as a lookout for the cartel. Knows he watches police movements in the area. Knows he reports to someone called the Gator, who Ramon has documented in his file as Rodrigo Salazar, 38 years old, responsible for 23 executions, wanted with a $2 million reward. He knows because 3 weeks ago he heard Mateo talking on the phone outside the food truck. "Yes, boss. 3 state trooper cars passed through downtown 20 minutes ago, heading north. Don't know if they're coming here or going to Austin. I'll let you know if they come back." "Yes, boss." Understood. Ramon documented everything in his file. Date, time, physical description of Mateo, phone number he dialed. He saw it on Mateo's phone screen, reflected in the food truck's window. All meticulously recorded. "Calm down, mijo. Who's looking for you?" Mateo breathes frantically. His hands are shaking, his voice is broken. "The Mexican cartel, Mr. Ramon. They say I talked to the feds. They say I'm a traitor. They say I gave names. They're coming to kill me. They're coming now." "Did you talk to the feds?" Mateo hesitates, looks down, then nods. "They grabbed me 2 days ago, Mr. Ramon. They threatened me. Said they'd put me in prison for 10 years if I didn't cooperate. I got scared. I gave them 2 names, just 2. But someone found out. Someone told the Gator. Now they're coming for me. I have nowhere to go. My family's in Houston. If I go there, they'll kill them too. I thought here. That you? I don't know. I just ran. Where's your family exactly? My mom and little sister are in Houston, 5th Ward. Why did you come here, Mateo? I don't know, Mr. Ramon. You've always been good to me. Always treat me with respect. Never judge me. I thought maybe. Ramon sighs. He knows this is a bad idea. Knows getting involved is dangerous. Knows the smart, rational, safe thing is to tell Mateo to leave, to run as far as possible, that it's not his problem. But something in the kid's gaze reminds him of someone. Reminds him of his daughter Camilla. Reminds him of the night the sicarios entered his house 14 years ago. Reminds him that Camilla was 7 years old and died with 2 bullets, begging them not to hurt her mommy. Reminds him that he had nowhere to go either. Reminds him that Richard Coleman saved his life when he could have let him die. Go. Get in the bathroom. Lock the door. Don't make noise. Don't come out until I tell you. Mateo looks at him with eyes full of tears. Thank you, Mr. Ramon, thank you, I swear I— Go, now. Mateo runs toward the small bathroom at the back of the food truck. Closes the door. Ramon hears the lock. Click. Ramon takes his cell phone from his pocket. A Samsung Galaxy A12 he bought 2 years ago at Best Buy for $150. He opens the encrypted app. Not the Dead Man's Switch one. Another one. A secure messaging app called Signal that he uses for emergency contacts. He types a short message. 12 Cartel Hitmen. Food truck El Buen Saber. Commerce Street Spot 847. San Antonio. Witness at risk. Urgent. Send. The message instantly reaches a contact saved as G. Special Agent Gabriela Soto. DEA. Specialized Unit Against Organized Crime. Special Agent Gabriela Soto is 44 years old. 18 years in operations against drug trafficking. Responsible for 34 successful captures of Mexican cartel operators during her career. Decorated 3 times for valor in the field. Survivor of 2 assassination attempts. One in 2018 when sicarios shot up her armored SUV on I-35. She escaped unharmed thanks to level 5 armor. Another in 2021 when they put a bomb under her car. It didn't explode because technicians deactivated it 20 minutes before. She's known Ramon Delgado for 7 years. Knows Ramon Delgado is a fake name. Knows who he really is. Knows he has the most valuable file on the Mexican cartel that exists outside intelligence agencies. Knows Ramon is waiting for the perfect moment to destroy the cartel. For 7 years, Ramon has been passing her information gradually. Small pieces of the puzzle. Never everything. Enough to help in specific operations. Enough to capture mid-level sicarios. Enough to save lives. But never enough to fully compromise himself. Never enough to reveal his real identity to the cartel. Gabriela respects that. Understands Ramon has a long-term plan, a plan that will culminate someday when conditions are perfect, when he can guarantee the file reaches all the right people simultaneously, when he can guarantee maximum impact. But she also knows that if Ramon sends her an urgent message, something serious is happening. Ramon never asks for help unless absolutely necessary. Gabriela's phone vibrates. She's in her office at the DEA field office in San Antonio reviewing reports of cartel activity over the last week. She reads the message. Immediately stands up. Agent Vargas, I need 5 units. Commerce Street, spot 847. Informant in imminent danger. Agent Marcos Vargas, 35 years old, 8 years in special operations, looks up from his computer. We're 12 minutes out, boss. Faster. I need you there in 8. Code red. Understood. Vargas runs out of the office. Gabriela grabs her tactical vest from the hook behind her desk, puts it on while walking to the parking lot, gets in her armored Ford Explorer, starts the engine, speeds toward downtown San Antonio. Inside the food truck, Ramon keeps cleaning as if nothing happened. But his mind is working at maximum speed. 12 hitmen, according to information from his contacts, arriving in less than 5 minutes. DEA units probably in 8. He has to buy time. Has to prevent them from executing Mateo before help arrives. Then he hears the engines. 12 black trucks screech to a stop in front of the food truck. Not subtly, not discreetly. They brake violently. Tires squealing. Doors opening simultaneously. Boots hitting pavement. Voices shouting orders in code. Ramon doesn't run, doesn't hide, doesn't scream. He keeps cleaning the flat top with slow, methodical movements, The same as always. The food truck's service window is open. A man appears, then another, another. 6 armed men, AK-47s, Glock pistols in tactical belts, black body armor, balaclavas covering faces. You can only see eyes, cold eyes, predator eyes. The leader is easily identifiable. He walks differently, more confidence, more authority. He pulls off his balaclava. Ramon recognizes him immediately. Rodrigo Salazar, the Gator, scar from left eyebrow to right cheek, exactly like in the photos Ramon has archived. The Gator points his pistol at Ramon. Where's the kid? Ramon slowly looks up, acts perfectly confused. Years of living a double life taught him to control facial expressions, to show what's convenient to show, to hide what's convenient to hide. Which one, boss? There's nobody here, I'm closing. The Gator walks toward him, puts the pistol against his forehead. The metal is cold. Ramon can smell the gun oil mixed with the Sicario's sweat. Don't waste my time, old man. Mateo Ruiz came in here 15 minutes ago. A neighbor saw him. Where is he? Ramon maintains his calm. His heart beats normally. His breathing is controlled. Years of living a double life taught him to control fear, to never show weakness. I'm telling you the truth, boss. Nobody's come in here for half an hour. You can search if you want. The Gator studies his face, looking for signs of lying. Ramon holds his gaze without blinking. The Gator makes a hand signal. The other 5 sicarios immediately disperse. 2 search the cooking area, flipping pots, opening the old refrigerator, checking behind the smoker. 2 more check behind the counter, move the plastic tables outside, look underneath. The 5th walks toward the bathroom at the back, knocks on the door with the butt of his AK-47. 3 dry knocks. Open up. Absolute silence. The sicario knocks again. Harder. Open up or I shoot the door. Silence. The sicario kicks the door. Once. Twice. 3 times. The 4th time, the cheap brass lock breaks with a metallic sound. The door flies open violently. Inside is Mateo Ruiz, kneeling on the dirty bathroom floor, crying, hands up, trembling violently, snot hanging from his nose. His pants are wet. He pissed himself from fear. Here he is, Gator. The Gator lets go of Ramon, walks toward the bathroom with slow steps, enjoying the moment. Looks at Mateo with absolute contempt. Thought you could hide, rat. Mateo cries like a child. I'm sorry, boss, I'm sorry, I didn't want to, they forced me. They threatened to put me in prison. I was scared. My mom is sick, she needs medicine. Please, boss, please. The Gator spits in his face. You should have thought about your mom before opening your mouth. He grabs him by the hair. Mateo screams in pain. The Gator drags him out of the bathroom. 2 sicarios grab him by the arms, lift him. His legs dangle without strength. They drag him toward the service window. Mateo looks at Ramon with pleading eyes. Mr. Ramon, help me. Please, please. Ramon looks down. Can't do anything yet. Has to wait. Has to trust that Gabriela will arrive in time. But he knows she probably won't arrive in time. Knows that in 30 seconds they'll put Mateo in a truck. In 2 minutes they'll be 3 miles away. In 10 minutes Mateo will be dead in some vacant lot with 3 bullets in his head. The Gator is about to leave when something stops him. He stands frozen in the doorway, slowly turns, looks at Ramon again, narrows his eyes. Something about his face seems familiar, something he can't identify, a blurry memory from the past. I know you. Ramon shakes his head. I don't think so, boss, I'm just a cook. I've been here 14 years. No. The Gator walks back toward him. I've seen you before. Years ago. Your face? I know your face. Ramon feels a chill down his spine. This is dangerous. The Gator worked for a cartel faction in 2009-2010 before joining the current organization. He could have seen Ramon Cardenas at some meeting 15 years ago. Could have been at some safe house when Ramon was discussing finances with the bosses. Memory is treacherous. Ramon makes a risky decision. Very risky. But he needs to buy time. Needs 3 more minutes. Just 3 minutes. Maybe we did meet, boss. But that was a long time ago and it doesn't matter anymore. The Gator stops. Why doesn't it matter? Ramon looks directly into his eyes. Because what's in that storage compartment is going to change everything. The Gator frowns. What storage compartment? Ramon gestures with his head toward the small white metal door at the back of the truck. The door that's always locked. The door Lucia has never seen open. The back storage. The one I never open. The one that has something you need to see. The Gator looks toward the door. He'd always seen it closed when he occasionally came to buy tacos years ago. Never asked. Never cared. It was just another door. What's in there? Ramon walks slowly toward the door, puts his hand in his pocket, takes out a small brass key, the same key he's used for 14 years to enter that compartment every night after closing the food truck. Something I've been keeping for 14 years. Something that can destroy your boss. Something El Mencho would pay $10 million to have. The sicarios look at each other. The Gator raises his weapon. Open it slowly, old man, and don't try anything stupid. Ramon puts the key in the lock, turns it. Click. The door opens slowly with a creak of hinges that need oil. Go ahead, but I warn you, what you're about to see will change your lives forever. The Gator enters first. Pistol raised, finger on trigger. The other 5 sicarios behind. Weapons pointing everywhere. Expecting an ambush, but there's no ambush, no weapons, no hidden sicarios. There's something much worse. The walls. 3 walls, completely covered floor to ceiling with information. Detailed maps of Texas and northern Mexico with red pins marking locations. Printed photos of hundreds of people. Some are social media photos. Others are security camera captures. Others are photos taken discreetly on the street. Newspaper clippings taped with adhesive. Headlines like, 5 executed in El Paso and cartel operator captured, and mass grave found with 12 bodies. Names written by hand with black marker on white paper. Hundreds of names connected with red yarn lines that form a complex spiderweb of relationships. Hierarchies, connections. Red yarn for command connections. Yellow yarn for financial connections. Green yarn for family connections. On the 4th wall, there are metal shelves. On top, external hard drives meticulously labeled. 2012, North Texas Operations. 2015, Michoacan Roots. 2018, Bought Politicians. 2021, Safe Houses. 2024, Documented Executions. In the middle, USB drives in transparent plastic boxes, each one labeled with names, dates, types of information. Below, thick yellow manila folders. Hundreds of documents, photographs, conversation transcripts, bank records, route maps. The Gator stands paralyzed, slowly lowers his weapon. His mouth opens but no words come out. The other 5 sicarios are equally shocked. One of them sees his own photo on the wall. Underneath it says, Miguel Ángel Ramos, alias El Toro, 29 years old. Active sicario since 2019. Responsible for execution of 4 people in Austin, March 2023. Lives in Southside neighborhood with his mother Esperanza Ramos. Drives gray Nissan Versa, plates ABC 1234. The sicario steps back, terrified. How the fuck? Another sicario sees photos of a house. His house with the exact address written underneath. Sees photos of his wife leaving to buy groceries. Sees photos of his kids entering school. Sees his plates, his phone number, his brother's names. The Gator finally finds his voice. What the fuck is this? Ramon enters behind them. Slowly closes the door. The sound echoes in the small space. This is the complete file on the Mexican cartel's U.S. operations. 14 years of systematically collected information. Names, bank accounts, drug routes, bought politicians, corrupt judges, police on payroll, active sicarios, safe houses, vehicles used, registered weapons, murdered victims, everything. The Gator looks at him with shock mixed with terror. Who the fuck are you? Ramon smiles for the first time in years. It's a smile without humor, a smile from a man who's waited 14 years for this moment. I'm Ramon Cardenas Silva, co-founder of the cartel you serve, the man El Mencho betrayed in November 2011, the man who spent 14 years waiting for the perfect moment to destroy him. The sicarios instinctively raise their weapons. 6 guns pointing at Ramon from different angles, fingers on triggers. One of them speaks. Gator, we kill him now and burn all this shit. Ramon slowly raises his cell phone with his right hand. The screen is lit, showing an app. A timer counts down. 11 hours, 47 minutes, 23 seconds, 22, 21. You can kill me. Go ahead. Shoot. But if you do, this timer doesn't reset. When it reaches 0, this entire file automatically sends to 23 agencies in 4 countries: Department of Justice, DEA, FBI, The New York Times, The Guardian, Texas Tribune, San Antonio Express News, human rights organizations. The cartel falls within 48 hours, mass arrests, frozen bank accounts, international political scandals. Everything El Mencho built over 15 years disappears. The gator slowly lowers his weapon. The other sicarios imitate him but keep weapons ready. You're threatening us? No. I'm giving you an option. You let me live. This file stays saved. You kill me. You lose everything. One of the sicarios, El Toro, shouts, "It's bullshit. He's bluffing. He doesn't have anything." Ramon calmly walks to one of the shelves, takes a manila folder, opens it, takes out a photograph, shows it to El Toro. It's a photo of El Toro meeting with the San Antonio police commander 2 months ago. They're outside a different restaurant. The commander is receiving a manila envelope. The photo was taken with a zoom lens from far away, but you can see everything perfectly clear. August 28, 2025, 7:34 p.m. You handed $10,000 to Commander Hector Valdez so he'd ignore the kidnapping of Fernando Ruiz in the Southside neighborhood. Fernando turned up dead 3 days later in a vacant lot. I have 14 more photos of that meeting. I have audio recording where you mention the victim's name. I have the bank receipt where you withdrew the $10,000 that same morning. El Toro goes pale. Ramon takes another folder, opens it, takes out banking documents, shows them to the gator. Transfers from the cartel's offshore account in Panama to 11 mayors of Texas cities, $100,000 monthly distributed among them. I have the account numbers. I have the names of the front men. I have the exact dates of each transfer for the last 3 years. If this goes public, those 11 mayors go to prison and they'll cooperate with prosecutors to reduce their sentences. They'll give names. They'll point to their contacts in the cartel. They'll destroy the political protection structure that keeps the cartel functioning. The gator clenches his jaw, knows this is real, knows it's not a bluff, knows this file is devastating. What do you want? Nothing. Just to live in peace. Keep being a cook. Die of old age in my bed next to my wife. But if you touch me, if you touch anyone I care about, if you try to destroy this file, everything goes public. El Mencho will want this. El Mencho can want whatever he wants. He won't get it. This file has 14 physical copies and 23 digital copies stored on encrypted servers in 7 different countries. You can't destroy it. You can only let it exist. One of the sicarios whispers urgently, "Gator, the cops." You can hear sirens in the distance approaching rapidly. 5 units. Maybe 6. Ramon smiles again. Oh, I forgot to mention. Before you arrived, I notified the DEA. Special Agent Gabriela Soto, Specialized Unit Against Organized Crime. You've got about 5 minutes before they surround you. You can stay here fighting me, trying to destroy a file that has copies in places you'll never find. Or you can run now and take the message to El Mencho. The ghost is alive, he has everything, and if you touch him, he loses everything. The gator looks at Ramon with pure hatred but also with fear. Real fear. Because he knows this man isn't lying. Knows this file is real. Knows El Mencho will rage when he finds out. Knows they'll probably execute the messenger for bringing bad news. But he has no choice. This doesn't end here, Cardenas. Ramon walks toward him. Looks directly into his eyes without fear. Voice calm but with authority that comes from years of commanding hundreds of men. Yes, it ends here. Because now you're going back to El Mencho. You're going to tell him the ghost is alive, that he has 14 years of information, that he has evidence that can destroy the entire cartel, that if you touch me, he loses his empire. And El Mencho, being the intelligent man he is going to do the math. He's going to calculate. He's going to understand that killing me costs much more than letting me live. The sirens are getting closer and closer. 2 blocks away. 1 block. Let's go. The gator runs out of the compartment. The other 5 sicarios behind. They leave Mateo lying on the ground of the food truck. They get in the trucks, engines starting, tires squealing. They disappear down side streets seconds before 5 DEA units arrive, surrounding the block. Gabriela Soto gets out of her armored Explorer with tactical vest on, pistol in hand. 10 federal agents behind her with assault rifles. They run into the food truck expecting to find an execution scene. They find Ramon calmly cleaning the flat top and Mateo on the floor crying. "Ramon, you okay?" "I'm fine, Agent Soto." Gabriela sees the open door at the back, sees the file compartment. Her eyes widen with shock. "You showed them the file." Ramon nods. "It was necessary. You're crazy. Now they know who you are, they're going to come for you." "They won't come, because they know if they do, they lose everything." Gabriela makes a signal. 2 agents lift Mateo from the floor, take him out of the food truck, put him in a unit. Mateo looks back one last time, murmurs thank you before they close the door. Gabriela approaches Ramon, speaks in a low voice so the other agents don't hear. "You have to leave now. Witness protection. New identity. I'll get you out of the country tonight." Ramon shakes his head. "No, I'm staying. This is just beginning. They're going to kill you. They won't kill me because now El Mencho knows I'm more valuable alive than dead." Gabriela looks at him with a mix of admiration and frustration. "You're the bravest or stupidest man I've ever met." "Both, probably." Gabriela sighs. "I'm putting surveillance on you. 2 agents rotating, 24/7. No, that'll draw attention. It'll look like I'm scared. I can't show fear. Ramon." "Gabriela, trust me. I've been planning this for 14 years. I know what I'm doing." Gabriela isn't happy but nods. She leaves the food truck with her agents. The units drive away. The street is empty again. Ramon closes the compartment door, locks it, finishes cleaning, turns off the lights, locks up the food truck, walks home. Lucia is waiting for him with dinner served. Pozole, Ramon's favorite. "Everything okay, mi amor?" "Everything's fine, mi amor." "You're late, I was worried." "Sorry, had a last-minute customer." They eat in silence. Ramon notices Lucia looks at him differently, as if she knows something happened, as if she can feel his life just changed forever. That night Ramon doesn't sleep. He lies there staring at the ceiling, waiting, knowing that in some safe house in Houston, the Gator is reporting to his boss. Don Aurelio Mendoza, second in command of the Mexican Cartel's U.S. operations, 62 years old, responsible for operations across Texas. In a safe house in Houston, the Gator is kneeling, reporting. Don Aurelio is sitting in a leather chair drinking 18-year Buchanan's whiskey. The cook in San Antonio is Ramon Cardenas, the ghost. Don Aurelio drops the glass. It shatters on the floor. Whiskey spilling. Glass scattered. Cardenas died in 2011. He didn't die. He's alive. He has a complete file on us. 14 years of information. Names, accounts, evidence. He says if we touch him, he sends everything to prosecutors and international media. Don Aurelio stays silent for a long time. You can only hear his heavy, furious breathing. "You saw the file?" "Yes, it's real. He has photos, documents, recordings. He has everything." Don Aurelio stands, walks to the window, looks toward the dark night. "Call El Mencho. Now." 3 hours later, 2:17 a.m. Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes receives the call at his compound in Jalisco. He listens to the report in absolute silence. Doesn't interrupt, doesn't ask questions, just listens. When the Gator finishes, there's 30 seconds of silence. Then El Mencho speaks. Voice calm but with contained fury that's scarier than any scream. "The ghost is alive." "Yes, boss." "He has 14 years of files on us." "Yes, boss." "And if we touch him, he destroys everything we've built." "Yes, boss." Another long silence. Don Aurelio. "Yes, boss. Tomorrow you're going to that food truck, alone, no sicarios, no weapons. You're going to talk to Cardenas, you're going to find out what he wants, money, protection, whatever it is, and you're going to get it. And if he doesn't want anything, everyone wants something. Find it. Because we can't kill him and we can't ignore him. So we have to neutralize him another way." The next day, October 23rd, Don Aurelio Mendoza arrives alone at the food truck El Buen Saber at 11:37 a.m. No sicarios, no visible weapons, Just him. A 62-year-old man dressed in a white dress shirt, expensive jeans, Italian shoes. He looks like a successful businessman, not like second in command of the most dangerous criminal organization operating in the United States. Ramon is serving tacos to 3 construction workers. He sees Don Aurelio enter, recognizes him immediately from photos in his file. They've been in the same room before, 15 years ago, at Cartel faction meetings. But Don Aurelio was a minor operator back then. Ramon was the financial brain. Don Aurelio probably doesn't remember him. The construction workers finish eating, pay, leave. The food truck is empty. Don Aurelio and Ramon sit at one of the plastic tables outside. Ramon serves 2 coffees without asking, puts them in disposable cups. Don Aurelio takes his, smells it, doesn't drink yet. El Mencho wants to negotiate. Ramon shakes his head. There's no negotiation. $10 million transferred wherever you say. Offshore accounts, cash, however you prefer. No. $20 million. No. Don Aurelio drinks his coffee. It's lukewarm. Tastes bitter. What do you want then? Ramon looks toward the street, toward people walking. Street vendors. Kids going to school. Mothers buying groceries. Normal life in a city controlled by invisible terror. Justice. Don Aurelio almost laughs, but he sees Ramon's expression. Sees he's serious. You know we can't give you that. Then there's no deal. You're going to destroy us. Ramon finally looks directly at him. Tired eyes but determined. Yes. I'm going to destroy you. But not today. Not tomorrow. When the right moment comes. When I can guarantee the entire file reaches where it needs to go. When I can guarantee maximum impact. When I can guarantee not just you fall, but also all the politicians, judges, police who protect you. Until then, I live. And so do you. Don Aurelio understands. Ramon doesn't want money. Doesn't want power. Doesn't want quick emotional revenge. He wants systematic, total destruction. And he has the patience to wait for the perfect moment. You're a dead man walking, Ramon. Ramon smiles without humor. I've been dead for 14 years, Aurelio. I died the night they executed my wife and daughter. What I'm doing now is revenge from the grave. Don Aurelio stands up. El Mencho won't accept this. He won't let it stand. El Mencho is going to do exactly what I said. He's going to do the math. He's going to calculate. He's going to understand that killing me costs more than letting me live. He's a businessman. He'll make the right decision. Don Aurelio walks to his truck. Stops. Someday you'll make a mistake. You'll forget to enter that code, or you'll die of natural causes. And when that happens, we're going to find all your copies. We're going to destroy them. We're going to survive. Maybe, or maybe not. But in the meantime, you're going to live with fear. Knowing every day could be the last. Knowing one mistake from me destroys you. I lived with that fear for 14 years. Now it's your turn. Don Aurelio leaves without saying anything more. 6 months pass. The cartel doesn't touch Ramon. Doesn't touch Lucia. Doesn't touch the food truck. Ramon keeps working every day, opens at 6 a.m., closes at 9 p.m., serves tacos, smiles at customers, lives a normal life. But every night he keeps documenting, keeps adding information to his file. Every new name, every new operation, every new politician who accepts a bribe, everything meticulously archived. And every 12 hours, every single day without fail, he enters the 8-digit code on his phone. The timer resets. 12 Wirang. The countdown begins again. Lucia notices changes in Ramon. He's calmer, sleeps better, the nightmares decrease. Sometimes he even genuinely smiles, as if an invisible burden has lightened. One night in April 2026, Lucia finally asks, Ramon, what happened 6 months ago? Something changed. I can feel it. Ramon is lying next to her, hugs her waist, smells her hair that smells of cheap apple shampoo. Someday I'm going to tell you everything, mi amor. But today I just need you to trust me. Can you do that? Lucia turns around, looks into his eyes, sees exhaustion, sees old pain, but also sees peace, something resembling hope. I've always trusted you, Ramon, from the day I met you, and I'll keep trusting. She kisses him softly. They fall asleep embraced. On June 3, 2026, 7 months after the incident at the food truck, something happens that changes everything. Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, El Mencho, is captured in Zapopan. Massive joint operation. Mexican authorities, DEA, FBI, Mexican Army. 150 agents, 3 helicopters, satellite intelligence provided by the United States. They grab him at a safe house at dawn. He doesn't shoot, doesn't resist, surrenders. It's the most important operation against organized crime in Mexico since El Chapo Guzman's capture in 2016. Gabriela Soto calls Ramon at 7:42 a.m. We got him. Who? El Mencho. We captured him 2 hours ago. Ramon sits on his bed. Lucia is still sleeping. He leaves the bedroom so as not to wake her. You're sure? 100%. We already confirmed identity with fingerprints and facial recognition. It's him. Ramon closes his eyes. Feels something strange in his chest. Not exactly joy. Not satisfaction. Just exhaustion. What's next, Ramon? It's time. Release the file. Everything. Now. With El Mencho captured, the cartel's going to be disorganized. They're going to fight for power. They won't have capacity for coordinated response. It's the perfect moment. Ramon walks to the window, looks at the empty street. San Antonio slowly waking. Vendors preparing stands, kids walking to school. Not yet. What? Ramon, we've been waiting 7 years. You have the most complete file that exists. With El Mencho in prison, we can dismantle the entire cartel, arrest dozens of operators, freeze accounts, rescue victims, save lives. Why wait? Because I need to guarantee it reaches the right people, that it doesn't leak early, that the impact is maximum. Give me 2 weeks. I'm going to prepare a coordinated release strategy. Gabriela isn't happy, but agrees. 2 weeks. Not 1 day more. For those 2 weeks, Ramon works 18 hours a day. Organizes the complete file. Creates separate documents for different agencies. For the DOJ, names of sicarios, locations of safe houses, operational routes. For the DEA, international connections, bank accounts in the U.S., distributors in California and Texas. For the media, evidence of political corruption, photos of clandestine meetings, conversation recordings. He creates 23 different packages, each one customized for its recipient, each one with verifiable evidence, each one designed for maximum impact. On June 18, 2026, Ramon deactivates the dead man's switch timer. For the last time, he manually sends the 23 packages one by one to the 23 addresses he's been preparing for 14 years. He presses send. The complete file on the Mexican cartel's U.S. operations goes out to the world. What happens in the next 72 hours is historic. The Department of Justice opens 89 simultaneous investigations. 34 federal warrants issued in the first 24 hours, 11 mayors arrested, 7 police commanders removed from duty and imprisoned, 4 state judges removed from their positions and subjected to criminal proceedings, 2 generals in the Mexican Army suspended and under investigation. The DEA coordinates operations in California, Texas, Illinois. 23 distributors arrested. 4 tons of drugs seized. $12 million in cash confiscated. The media explodes. The New York Times publishes a 15-page investigation titled, "The Ghost Who Haunted America's Most Dangerous Cartel." The Guardian publishes a 5-article series on systemic corruption in Texas border cities. The Texas Tribune dedicates its entire front page to "The File That Destroyed a Cartel." The San Antonio Express-News reveals Ramon Cardenas's identity, with his permission. They publish his story, the man who co-founded the cartel, the man who was betrayed, the man who lost his family, the man who spent 14 years building evidence from a modest food truck in San Antonio. Public reaction is massive. Some call him a hero. Others call him a criminal who deserves prison for his past. Others call him an opportunist. Others call him a symbol of resistance. Ramon doesn't read the comments, doesn't watch the news, just keeps working at his food truck, opening at 6 a.m., closing at 9 p.m. Until one morning, Lucia comes to the food truck with a newspaper. The San Antonio Express-News. Front page. Photo of Ramon from 15 years ago when he was a financial operator for the cartel, side by side with a recent photo taken outside the food truck. Ramon, is this true? Ramon looks at the newspaper, looks at Lucia, sees tears in her eyes, sees confusion, sees fear. Yes. Lucia sits down. She's trembling. You were married before. You had a daughter. Yes. You worked for the cartel. Yes. You lied to me for 12 years. Ramon sits next to her, takes her hand. She doesn't pull it away, but doesn't squeeze it either. Yes, I lied. Because if I told you the truth, your life was in danger. Because I needed to protect you. Because I couldn't risk something happening to you like what happened to Sophia and Camila. Do you still love them? I'll always love them. They were my family. They died because of me. Do you love me? Ramon looks directly at her. You're the reason I didn't give up. The reason I kept living. The reason I woke up every morning for 14 years. Without you, I would have let myself die a long time ago. Lucia cries. I don't know if I can stay with you knowing all this. I understand. If you want to leave, I won't stop you. I'll pay rent on an apartment for you. I'll give you money to start a new life. Whatever you need. Lucia stays silent for a long time, then speaks with a broken voice. Let me think about it. She leaves the food truck. Doesn't come back that night. Or the next. Or the next. Ramon sleeps alone in his house for the first time in 12 years. Lucia's side of the bed is cold, empty. 2 weeks pass. The national scandal continues. 127 total arrests related to the file. The cartel fragments into 3 smaller organizations fighting over territory. Violence increases temporarily, but the cartel's power is permanently weakened. Ramon is summoned to testify before the DOJ. Gabriela Soto accompanies him. They offer him total immunity for his collaboration. They won't prosecute him for his past crimes. The United States also offers immunity. They want his testimony against El Mencho in extradition proceedings. Ramon accepts. He spends 3 days testifying, 47 total hours. Explains the entire financial structure of the cartel. Names, accounts, money laundering routes, political connections, everything. When he finishes, Gabriela drives him back to San Antonio. You did the right thing, Ramon. I don't know. There's still a lot of people who are going to suffer. The cartel fragmented but didn't disappear. The violence continues. Maybe I just changed one form of horror for another. You saved lives. Dozens. Hundreds eventually. Kids who won't be recruited. Families who won't be extorted. Victims who will be rescued, that has to count. I hope so. When Ramon arrives at his house, he finds Lucia sitting in the living room. She has a suitcase next to her. Ramon's heart sinks. You're leaving. Lucia shakes her head. No. I stayed at my sister's house these 2 weeks. I needed to think. I needed to process everything. And I came to a conclusion. Which is? That the man I met 13 years ago, the man I married 12 years ago, the man who brought me flowers every Friday for a decade, that man is real. Ramon Cardenas did terrible things 15 years ago, but Ramon Delgado spent 14 years trying to correct them. I don't know if that fully redeems him, but I know you deserve a chance to try, and I want to be by your side while you try. Ramon cries for the first time in 14 years. Hugs Lucia. She hugs him back. I don't deserve your forgiveness. Maybe not, but you have it anyway, because that's what real love does. It forgives the unforgivable. 6 more months pass. Life slowly returns to something resembling normal. Ramon keeps working at the food truck. Customers keep coming. Some recognize him from the news. Some treat him differently. Some with admiration, others with contempt, some with fear, but most just want tacos. In December 2026, a 22-year-old comes into the food truck, sits down, orders 3 brisket tacos. Ramon recognizes him. It's Mateo Ruiz, the kid he hid in the bathroom 14 months ago. Mateo looks different, more mature, less scared. He's studying, has university books under his arm. The DEA put me in witness protection, gave me a new identity. Paid for college, I'm studying business administration. I'll graduate in 2 years. I'm glad, mijo. I came to thank you. You saved my life. And then you saved many more lives with what you did. You're a hero. Ramon shakes his head. I'm not a hero. I'm a man who made terrible mistakes and spent the rest of his life trying to make amends. That's not heroism. It's just responsibility. Mateo eats his tacos. Pays. Before leaving, he says, "My mom told me something when I was a kid. She said no matter how dark the night is, dawn always comes. You lived 14 years of night, Mr. Ramon. But you brought dawn for many." Ramon smiles. "Thank you, mijo. Take care." Mateo leaves. Ramon keeps working, cleans the flat top, prepares more brisket, serves customers. That night when he closes the food truck, he opens the storage compartment door for the last time, looks at the empty walls. All documents were turned over to authorities, all hard drives confiscated as evidence. The compartment is completely empty now, just white walls with holes from pushpins. He closes the door, locks it, walks home. Lucia is waiting with dinner served. Pozole again. They eat together, talk about simple things, the weather, the neighbors, Lucia's cousin who got married last weekend. After dinner, Ramon washes the dishes. Lucia sweeps the patio. Simple, peaceful domestic routine. They go to bed. Ramon hugs Lucia, smells her hair, listens to her breathing, feels her warmth. For the first time in 15 years, Ramon Cardenas Silva sleeps without nightmares. If this story moved you, if you understood that redemption is possible even after devastating mistakes, if you valued the courage of a man who spent 14 years silently correcting his sins, help us share this message. Subscribe to the channel to keep learning stories of people who faced organized crime with extraordinary courage. Leave your like and tell us in the comments if you believe in second chances. Can someone who committed crimes fully redeem themselves? Your opinion matters because these questions don't have easy answers. See you in the next one. And remember, between bullets and secrets, there's always hope.